After discussing the general characteristics of subkingdom Protozoa, let's have some discussion about the classification of subkingdom Protozoa. Prior discussing about the classification of subkingdom Protozoa, I want to discuss about some scientist names. Scientist Goldfuss, he first used the term Protozoa, first proposed by scientist after that there are lots of modifications, etc. This is not my point of discussion today. I want to discuss about the classification given by Levine et al. In 1980. Okay. Levine et al. 1980. This et al. Levine is the scientist name. Okay. What is the meaning of et al? And you should notice that after writing this et al, there I am giving you underline. And underline means when it will be written in published form, in your book, you will find this in italics, but italics is not possible in handwritten form. So for all of we know that italics form must be underlined. This et al means Levine, when a topic, research topic, when it is published in journal, there is first authorship. The first author name is Levine, and et al means all of his colleagues. Okay. Levine et al. Classification. First time the classification of protozoa was introduced by Honigberg et al. 64, and that was accepted by Protozoological Congress. After that, K.G. Grell, another scientist, he proposed classification of protozoa. In your syllabus, the classification given by Levine et al. Prior 1980s, subkingdom, this term subkingdom was not used. Phylum Protozoa, it was used before 1980s, but after Levine et al, they had uplifted phylum Protozoa into this subkingdom Protozoa. Okay, and in the syllabus of Calcutta University, the Levine et al. Classification, the classification of protozoa, subkingdom protozoa given by Levine et al. In 1980, it will be discussed. Subkingdom protozoa is to be classified up to phylum only. Here in my class, I will discuss up to subphylum. Levine et al. They have published this classification first time in Journal of Protozoology. In Journal of Protozoology 1980 edition. 1980 edition. Let's have a look about this classification. And Levine et al. They had classified this subkingdom protozoa up to 7 phyla. Up to 7 phyla. Here 7 phyla. Sarcomastigophora. First phylum. Sarcomastigophora. It has 3 subphylum. Subphylum. Mastigophora opalinata and Sarcodina. 3 subphylum. Labyrinthodontia. Third one is Apicomplexa, Microspora, Acetospora, Myxozoa, And seventh one is Celiophora. So the under subkingdom protozoa there are 7 phylum. First one is Sarcomastigophora, second one is Labyrinthomorpha, third one is Epicomplexa, fourth one is Microspora, number 5 Acetospora, number 6 Mixozoa, and number 7 Celiophora. Keep it in your brain, keep it in your mind very well. This one is very much important and memorize it very well. We'll be careful about all of this spelling also. Let's discuss about some point of phylum. The first phylum, Sarcomastigophora. So what characteristics we can observe in phylum Sarcomastigophora? The first point is locomotory organ. About its locomotory organ. What is its locomotory organ? Locomotory organ of Sarcomastigophora is pseudopodia or flagella. Locomotory organ, pseudopodia or flagella. Second point, monomorphic nucleus. Monomorphic. Third point, no spore formation takes place. No spore formation takes place here. Reproduction by fission or syngamy. Reproduction by fission or phylum Sarcomastigophora is divided into 3 phylum, Mastigophora, Opalinata and Sarcodina. Let's discuss about some characteristics of these 3 subphylum also. Subphylum Mastigophora, locomotory organ flagella, so they are called flagellate animals. Body is covered by pellicle. Third one, they can be free living or parasitic. Number of flagella may be 1 or 2 or more. Next, some may possess undulating membrane. Chromatophore present in free living forms, not in parasitic form. Reproduction by binary fission. The fission occurs through longitudinal axis. Let's have a look some examples of these subphylum Mastigophora. These are also examples of animals of phylum Sarcomastigophora. Euglena, Volvox, I am not going to write all of here. So Noctiluca, Chilomonas, Giardia, Trypanosoma. Subphylum Opalinata. Point number 1, whole body is covered by cilia-like organs. Number 2, cytosome altogether absent. Point number 3, nuclei 2 or nuclei is present 2 or more than. All nuclei are monomorphic. All are parasites. They are all parasites. No free living form is present in subphylum Opalinata. All are parasitic. Mention this point very carefully. Your division is acentrogenic, binary fission, symmetrogenic. Some may show syngamy, anisogamy. Gametes are flagellated, and example of this Opalinata is Opalina. Then comes to the third subphylum, Sarcodina. Point number 1, locomotory organs are pseudopodia, and pseudopodia may be lobopod, phylopod, axopod or reticulopod. differing type. When present, it is restricted in developmental stage. Point number 3, some are freshwater forms, some are marine, some live in soil. Nucleus may be one or many. Living or parasitic forms are present here. Reproduction is asexual by fission. If present, it is associated with flagella, and examples of subphylum Sarcodina is Elphidium babeacea. Examples are Euglena. Some important examples of Sarcomastigophora is Euglena, Volvox, Giardia, Trypanosoma, Trypanosoma, Opalina, Amoeba, Elphidium, these are all about phylum Sarcomastigophora. About some characters of phylum Labyrinthomarpha. Point number 1. Here generally trophozoite stage is said. Cytoplasm reticulate type. These reticulate cytoplasm shaped or non-amoeboid cells are present. Sometimes amoeboid cells moves in the cytoplasm by gliding. Point number 4. On the surface, various organelles are found. They are connected with ectoplasmic reticulum. Most species here, they can form zoospores. Labyrinthula. And another example of Labyrinthomorpha is Throastochytrium epicomplexa. So what are general characteristics? Let's concentrate about the general characteristics of phylum Epicomplexa. The first one, it possesses an apical complex, can be seen under electron microscope only. The point number 2, generally possesses one or two polar rings. Sense of microfibrils which help in locomotion. Point number 4, pellicular microtubules are present at any stage. Number 5, microspore present at any stage, never present here. In gamete, flagella can be present. Reproduction occurs generally by syngamy. In some cases, asexual reproduction can also take place. All are generally intercellular parasites. Here, spores are found and sporozoite develops within spores. If gametocytes are produced, they are of two types, macrogametocyte and microgametocyte. Examples are Parkin's selenodioids. These are examples of phylum Epicomplexa. So, third phylum Epicomplexa is being completed. And the fourth one is Microspora. Now, let's discuss some important characteristics of phylum Microspora. First one, spore single-celled. Spore single-celled and spore is without pore. Without pore. The spore have no pore. Spore single cells, spore wall is without any pore. Number 2, sporoplasm is with one or two nuclei. The next point, spores with complex organelles for expulsion of sporoplasm. Next point, polar caps and polar tubes are always present. Next point, mitochondria is absent. During spore formation, next point, during spore formation, it becomes dimorphic. They are always intracellular parasite. So, these are all characteristics of these phylum Microspora. Let's see some example of phylum Microspora. Example, Nosema, Barkia, Amphiacantha, Spora. So these are all about phylum Microspora. Next come to next phylum Acetospora. What are the different characteristics of phylum Acetospora? Spores are generally multicellular, may be single cell. Sporoplasm may be one, two or many. Next point, polar capsule and polar filament are absent and they are all parasites. All are parasites from phylum Acetospora. Sporoplasm may be created from the bud of sporoplasm. Spore wall may be with pores or without pores. If pore present, there may be bulb. They are covered by bulbs or may be protected by diaphragm. Some examples: Paramixa, Urosporidium, Urosporidium. Then come to next phylum, Myxozoa. They have multicellular origin of spores. Polar capsule 1 to many. Sporoplasm 1 or 2. Spore is composed of 1 to 3 valves. They are all parasite. Parasites of blood or parasites of coelom or cells of cold-blooded vertebrates. Polar capsule with coiled polar filament. Some examples of Myxozoa are Myxobolus, Myxidium, Triactinomyxan. Next and last, the seventh one, phylum Celiophora. As the name suggests, celio means their locomotory organ is cilia. Obviously, this name suggests Celiophora. Cilia maybe it's complex, simple cilia or complex ciliated. Nucleus are of second and the most important point, the nucleus are of two types: macronucleus and micronucleus. Micronucleus is used in reproduction, whereas macronucleus performs other functions of body. Conjugation takes place by the union of these micronucleus, which will be discussed later in conjugation in paramecium in my next classes. Here autogamy may take place, but free gametes are not formed. Presence of cytostome and cytopygy. Another important point, presence of cytostome and cytopygy. Nutrition is mixotrophic or heterotrophic. Cilia or complex ciliated organ present, infraciliary system and cytostome is present, and anterior part of the body contains buccal ciliature and they are free swimming or sessile. Examples of Celiophora: Paramecium, Vorticella, Nyctotherius, Balantidium. So these are all about detailed classification with important characters and examples of each of subkingdom Protozoa.